On today's episode, How I Won World's Toughest Mudder 2018 with Rea Kolbl and Kristopher Mendoza.
Kristopher Mendoza.
This is the World's Toughest Podcast. Welcome to the World's Toughest Podcast, where we talk about any obstacle course race you'd like, as long as that's World's Toughest Mudder. Each week we talk to members of the WTM community and share stories of success and failure in the single greatest event in OCR. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the World's Toughest Podcast. Welcome back to World's Toughest Podcast. My name is Will Hicks. Thank you for listening to the number one rated obstacle course racing podcast in the world. In the world. The world. Do you know why that is? It's not because of me. Maybe a little, but not really. And it's not because of you necessarily, although probably a little bit more than me. This is the number one obstacle course racing podcast in the world because World's Toughest Mudder is the number one obstacle course race in the world. And I know that could be debatable, and I know the OCR WC is an amazing race. And Spartan holds a great world championship every year in Tahoe. But coming off the past weekend at World's Toughest 2018, it was just a great race with amazing athletes from all over the world. The top three women all hail from different countries. I talked with people from all over, and it was just a great event. Speaking of great, clearly I need to go find a great thesaurus to describe the weekend. Now, on today's episode, we are going to talk with your World's Toughest Mudder 2018 men's and women's champions. They are Kristopher Mendoza, and Rea Kolbl.
5 stars.
We are also going to talk with WTM legend Allison Tai, who finished in third for the women. World's Toughest rookie, Erin Rost, who finished in second for the women, and Mr. and Mrs. Danny and Katie Mendoza, Chris's parents. I talked with all these people after the post-race brunch had ended, and we were all hanging around afterward, not really wanting the weekend to end. There was a lot of cross-mic chatter while I was recording. Kris started interviewing Erin, and then he tried to interview me, and then he tried to taunt Rea a little bit. Erin's coming for you, Rea. That's Kris, not me. This chat with these elites was one of my favorite parts of the whole weekend. I heard a line that some people make a room better when they enter, and some when they leave. All of these people make you feel better. They give you energy just by spending time with them, just by being around them. I'm honored to get to spend a little bit of time with them after they're done with their day at work. Before we start, you can email me at willhicks@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheWillHicks, and you can follow the show on Instagram. By the way, speaking of Instagram, I know I'm biased, but if you followed our coverage on Instagram this weekend and enjoyed it, you should send a quick thank you to Carlo Piscotello. On Instagram, he is Carlo_with_no_S. Great handle, Carlo. Well done. Carlo with no S, with underscores between each word. That's so easy to tell. Hey, follow me on Instagram. Okay, Carlo, I'd love to. What's your handle? Okay, hang on. You know that little line at the bottom, the underscore? Yeah, you know where to find it on your keyboard? You're going to need to find it. Carlo was on course and bringing you the best updates of anyone out there all night long. And he wasn't just lounging in the pit waiting for people to come to him. He was out there all over the course, all over that frozen tundra, keeping you up to date if you were watching from home. Well done, Carlo. Carlo, this is an announcement, actually, big announcement. Carlo will be at all 4 toughest mudders in the U.S. next year, either racing or covering the race for World's Toughest Podcast. Very excited about that. Another great place to look for updates and pics from the race is with the hashtag World's Toughest Podcast. I have an amazing social media team that helps me with posts, and they are great. I got to meet several of you in person this weekend. That was fun. It was good to see you guys, and well done out there on the course. Well done, social team. Hashtag World's Toughest Podcast. And of course, if you want to keep up to date on World's Toughest Mudder news and general OCR news, go to the OCRreport.com. That is a joint project between myself, Heather Bodie of Overcome and Run, and Mike and Caitlin of Obstacle Running Adventures. Let's talk some news. World's Toughest Mudder was held this past weekend just outside Atlantis in a little town called Fairburn, Georgia. Temperatures dropped into the high 20s Fahrenheit, or about -3 Celsius. This was, without a doubt, the coldest World's Toughest Mudder since at least 2012 in New Jersey, and possibly ever. Your 2018 World's Toughest Mudder champions are Kristopher Mendoza, and Rea Kolbl.
5 stars.
If you are a new listener to the show, I want you to know I've had those sound bites for a long time. Rea's is almost exactly a year old, and Chris's is 2 years old, almost 2 years old. That's from a rap battle between Kris and Keith Allen. Keith is a member of the community, helps run the World's Toughest Mudder Facebook page, community Facebook page. And yeah, it was about 2 years ago. That's a long time to wait for a joke to pay off, you guys.
Kristopher Mendoza.
For Rea Kolbl, this is her second championship in 2 years. She's only the second woman and fourth person to win back-to-back titles at World's Toughest Mudder. Rea ran 75 miles and finished in 21 hours and 12 minutes. She also won the sprint lap for the second year in a row. Winning the sprint lap and going on to win World's Toughest Mudder has only been done by one person, Rea Kolbl, and she's done it twice. This is the first win at World's Toughest Mudder for Kris Mendoza. He went into the race as a sort of co-favorite with 2016 champion Trevor Psychos, and the two of them battled it out until the end. After 95 miles, Psychos had a 20-minute lead on Mendoza, but had been slowed to power hiking speed. Mendoza still had some run left in him, but he had to make up 20 minutes in less than 5 miles for the win. When Mendoza was going over Happy Ending, he was able to look down and see Psychos a few hundred yards in front of him, finishing the Kiss of Mud obstacle. Mendoza saw his opportunity and made a move. He passed Psychos for the lead less than half a mile from the finish line. This is Mendoza's first win and second 100-mile performance at World's Toughest Mudder. The complete extended podium for the men. Before I read these numbers and mileages are taken from the Tough Mudder preliminary site. You can find a link to this and all of the preliminary race info at theocrreport.com. For the men, in first place, Kris Mendoza with 100 miles in 24 hours and 34 minutes. In second, Trevor Psychos with 100 miles in 24:45. In third, Jesse Bruce with 90 miles in 23:30. In fourth, Mark Gadet with 85 miles in 23:48. And in fifth place, Joshua Reed with 85 miles in 24 hours and 34 seconds. The extended podium for the women. In first, Rea Kolbl with 75 miles in 21 hours and 25 minutes. In second, Erin Rost with 75 miles in 25:09. In third, Allison Tai with 70 miles in 21:30. In fourth, Alex Walker with 65 miles in 23:12. And in fifth, Adrian Alvord with 65 miles in 24:03. In the two-man classic team category, it was Team Atomic in first place, with Wesley Kerr and Evan Perperis with 75 miles in 21:58. In second was Team Goat Tough's 3 a.m. Waterfalls with 70 miles in 24:53. In third place was Team Mohawk with 60 miles in 23:10. In fourth was Team Drip Drop with 50 miles in 24:45. And in fifth was Team Four Eyes with 35 miles in 17:53. And finally, in the team relay category, in first place was Lindsay's Angels. That's Ryan Atkins, Lindsay Webster, Ryan Woods, and Brian Gowiski with 80 miles in 21:06. In second place was USA 1 with 50 miles in 25 hours and 54 seconds. In third was Team USA 2 with 40 miles in 14:37. 14 hours. That's tapping out at 2 in the morning. Not sure about that. In fourth place was USA 3 with 35 miles in 21:16. That is my team in fourth place. More on that later. In fifth place was Team Ireland with 30 miles at 11:15. Congratulations to all of the top finishers at World's Toughest Mudder 2018. All right, so on a personal note, my relay team finished in fourth place. I am very excited about the $1,000 prize, as it will almost pay for our Airbnb for the weekend. We didn't actually beat anyone. We just outlasted them. We were out there all night long, freezing our tails off until we could call it a day the next day. I am especially excited about my extended podium because I'm pretty sure I am the only podcast host, OCR podcast host, who does not have his 50-mile bib. Matt B. Davis got his in 2016. Heather Bodie got hers in 2017. Mike Stefano got his this year. Jason Dupree from OCR Talk has 2 from 2016 and 2018. Even Hunter McIntyre, who has a podcast, got his in 2014 when he won World's Toughest Mudder. Evan Perperis has multiple 75-mile bibs from over the years. Evan and Hunter don't count, though. They're too good. It's just me and Caitlin Ritter with no 50-mile bibs. But in her defense, she's never run World's Toughest Mudder. I've run it 3 times. So, you know what? Now that I think about it, there are so many OCR podcasts that I'm sure I could probably list 10 more OCR podcasts, right, that have hosts that may or may not have a 50-mile bib. So, I don't know who, but I can't be the only one. But I am the only one with the extended podium. Yeah, baby. Anyway, now the next time Matt B. Davis asks where my 50-mile bib is, I'll tell him it's in the same place as his extended podium finish. How many people hit each of the major mileage milestones? At World's Toughest Mudder, you receive a patch when you reach 25 miles and a new bib when you complete 50, 75, and 100 miles. This year at World's Toughest Mudder, 1,207 people, 1,207 people completed at least one lap of the course. 905 people completed 25 miles. 296 people completed 50 miles. 18 people ran 75 miles. And 2 men ran 100 miles. It's time for You're So Smart.
Hey, baby, you're so smart. Look at what you're doing now.
Leading up to World's Toughest Mudder, I asked you to predict the top 3 men and the top 3 women and their finish spots. If you could correctly predict all 6 people in all 6 spots, you would win, absolutely free, a brand new World's Toughest Podcast sticker. I am happy to say the sticker was won by nobody. I'm keeping the sticker. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Erin Rost. You're saying, who is that? That's right. That's why you lost. Erin was my bracket buster. Well done, Erin. Absolutely no one picked her to finish in second place. And without her, you can't win. Some of you got pretty close, though. Stuart Clark had all of the men right. Chris, Trevor, and Jesse Bruce in order. For the women, he had Rea first, Allison second, and Anne Champagne third. Rea was correct. Allison was close. She finished in third, not in second. And Anne Champagne, she had a disappointing first World's Toughest. She had to tap out early due to the cold. Another listener who was very close was Andy Averill. He had all the men correct. But for the women, he had Allison, Rea, and then Anne in the third. One of the most interesting ballots came from a guy named Ryan. He was the only person to correctly guess Rea in first and Allison in third. But he had Lindsay Webster in second. Lindsay ran the team category, not the individual. And he also predicted Trevor in second place, but he had Kris in third place. Kris actually finished in first. In first place for the men, Ryan picked John Albin. And John did not race World's Toughest this year. John is saving his energy for the Spartan Ultra Beast in Iceland in about a month. So, sorry. No winners this year. But don't worry. The prize will roll over to next year when you will have the chance to win 2 stickers. This week on You're So Smart, who are the 4 men to have run 100 miles or more at World's Toughest Mudder more than once? Email me at worldstoughestpodcast@gmail.com with "So Smart" in the subject line, and you could win a free shout-out. And that has been You're So Smart.
Hey baby, you're so smart. Look at what you're doing now.
I ran World's Toughest Mudder in a pair of All Out Crush 2.0s. I think ideally I would have run in the Agility Peak Flex, but I didn't have a pair of the Agilities that were big enough to hold my feet with the 2 pair of neoprene socks I was wearing. I ran in All Out Crushes with the boa lace, and those tend to run like half a size too big. So if you wear a 10.5 usually, you should order a 10 with the boa lace. And that boa lace, it did great in the mud. I was nervous because of just how much mud we were in the whole time, but they were great. Very happy. Highly recommend them. If you would like to win a free pair of the Merrell All Out Crush or the Merrell Agility Peak Flex, text the word TOUGH to the number 22828. That's the word TOUGH to the number 22828. Totally free. That text will add you to our newsletter list and make you eligible for prizes like a free pair of Merrell trail running shoes. Before we talk with our winners, let's read some iTunes reviews.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars. 5 stars.
Our first review comes from Amazon. If you don't have an iPhone or iPad, you can leave a review on Amazon.com. From Amazon, Anna Glenn writes, 5 stars. Best podcast ever. Just found the podcast last week and am completely obsessed. Best podcast out there. I'm only a 2 times full finisher right now, but my goal is a Worlds in 2022. Fingers crossed emojis. Thank you for all of the info. You're welcome, Anna. Thank you for leaving a review. I appreciate that. Don't say only a 2-time finisher. We were all 2-time finishers at one time. This time, 1 year ago today, Rea Kolbl was a 1-time finisher. There's no shame in that game, Anna. You say you want to do World's Toughest in 2022. Real quick, let me tell you my story. My first Tough Mudder was in February of 2012. For years, I would say, I'm going to do World's Toughest Mudder. Not this year, but next year. And next year never comes. If you want to do it, you should do it. I finally just signed up in March of 2015 for World's Toughest, that November 2015. And I said, well, now I have to get ready. And I've been back ever since. So I'm talking to Anna, but maybe I'm talking to you. Sign up now for World's Toughest 2019 and see what happens. Email me after you sign up, willhicks@gmail.com. Good luck, Anna. I hope to see you out there. Our next review comes from Bubbles the Clown. Hey, Bubbles. You can tell Bubbles is classy because he spells clown with an E at the end. From the U.S., Bubbles writes, I know you love clowns. 5 stars. 5 stars. I can't do that. Bubbles likes to talk in a creepy clown voice. Dear Will, there's almost no time until WTM. I'm not sure what Atlanta will be like, but let's get it. My goal is to win the Clydesdale unofficial division because big guys and gals matter too. Bubbles, no one said we don't matter. I legit want to beat my mileage from last year. Thanks for all the Elite Week episodes. I am fully immersing myself in all the content to prepare. This show could use more of the Ryans. Can't go wrong with more Woods and Atkins. Pumped to root for the 3 Ryans and Lindsay. Gwiski gets called Ryan on TV anyway. Gwiski's name is Brian Gwiski, not Ryan. There's 2 Ryans and a Brian on their team. Anyway, I'll see you and my fans out on course. 5 stars. Insert Rea for you.
5 stars.
Love Bubbles. Thank you, Bubbles. That's Kevin Gregory. Kevin runs the course wearing a terrifying clown mask. I say terrifying clown mask. Every clown mask is terrifying. I saw Bubbles out there this weekend. He looked strong. Kevin, how many miles did you end up with? Let me know. willhicks@gmail.com. Thank you for that review. Very funny. Our last review comes from the U.S. From the U.S., SithMax17 writes, 5 stars. Loved all the episodes prior to WTM Atlanta. Very informative and loved all the interviews. Awesome meeting Will at the event, too. Thank you, SithMac. SithMac, I have to be honest, I'm not sure who you are. Like, I don't know your real name. But I am glad we got to meet. I met so many great people this weekend. At the community dinner, at the race, at the event, at brunch, and then at the bar crawl afterwards. Just a great event filled with great people. Thank you, SithMac. I'm glad we got to meet. Don't even know who you are. I'm not sure where we even met. If you would like to be a part of the show, like Anna Glenn, Bubbles the Clown, and SithMac, you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts also. Just open the Purple Podcast app on your iPhone or iPad and search for World's Toughest Podcast. Click our logo and then scroll down to click Write a Review. If you don't have an iOS device, you can leave a review on Amazon.com. Just search Amazon for World's Toughest Podcast, click our logo, and then scroll down to click Write a Customer Review. And I will read it on a future episode. Talking about all the people I met in Atlanta this weekend. If we met for the first time, could you do me a favor? Leave a review on Apple Podcasts and tell me about us meeting. That will be a mini time capsule for me to remember you and to remember the weekend and to look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you for leaving that review. It's time to talk with Allison Tai, Erin Rost, Kris Mendoza, Rea Kolbl, and Danny and Katie Mendoza. Let's go to the phones. Allison Tai.
Hi.
We're talking the day after World's Toughest Mudder. How do you feel?
Pretty good, actually. I was super sore when I woke up this morning, and it was an ugly moment when I got out of bed. But now that I've moved around, I'm actually feeling pretty all right.
You got 3rd place.
I did.
It's kind of interesting developments the last couple hours of the race. What exactly happened?
I came in sometime after the sun came out, and I was feeling pretty good, but I was kind of cold. And so my pit crew, I guess the leaderboards were showing off numbers, and it showed me as having 75 miles. And we had a whole bunch of people in, so they weren't like normally John and his charts and stuff like that, right? He's writing everything down and making sure. So he wasn't doing that. He was relying on the leaderboards. And I guess just they had some super spotty internet and they just weren't refreshing and they were like popping up random things. And so I guess when he looked at it and when he was strategizing, I was at 75 and Rea was at 85. So he actually thought he was going to hit the bonus. And then Erin was 2 laps before me, so she was at 65 or whatever. And then, so he was like, okay, so this might be your last lap. And I was like, what? Like, already? And he's like, yeah, everybody seems like they're locked in. There's 2 laps between each of you. And so we'll just really warm you up and send you out. So I ended up staying in the pit like way too long, which I always tell people. I'm like, if you are cold, go back out on course. Do not stay in the pit. And I guess just with like kind of pressure coming off and like everything kind of seeming like it was settling, we like poured a whole bunch of hot water in my wetsuit and like I ate like a meal. And then I went to head out and my hip flexors locked up so bad. It was nasty. So I ended up just kind of walking it through that lap. And so I got super cold. And coming into the finishing area, my pit was like, yeah, no, you're locked in because there's the 2 laps still. And so I came around and they were like, yay, second place. And, thought it was a day, went and hung out with Rea for a little bit and did the med tent thing, warmed up. And then John put me in the car and unpacked all the pit stuff. And then as we were pulling out, like an hour and a half later, just after 11 o'clock, Eli comes like bang, bang, bang on the window. And he's like, just wait a second. I'm going to call Nolan and he needs to talk to you. And I was like, what? Like, what is happening? So then Nolan comes there and explains to me that for whatever reason, Erin might be able to like take second if she like keeps up this pace. She had a phenomenal finish and she was just cooking and she might be able to take it. So he's like, I would allow you to go back on course, which is very like gracious of them. But at that point, I mean, I'd been sitting for like almost 2 hours and I had taken stuff off. I mean, to get my wetsuit back on properly and head me back out on course, it would have just been almost impossible to have like, met the timeline. But yeah, it was nice of them to like come and find me and at least let me know that that's what was going on. And like, I mean, they're probably so busy at the end of the race. It meant a lot that they came and found me, but it's just, I think the timing was, a little bit wonky and just how it kind of rolled out, a little bit of miscalculation or mistiming or something at the end. And just, how it worked out.
Other than that, which is a big thing, obviously, but what did you think of the course and the race itself?
It was awesome. It was so cold and it was so muddy, and then the ice came, and there was just ice all over everything. So even like the simplest obstacles became really challenging just because they were so slippery. But yeah, it was cool. It was funny because in the middle of the night, it's like so many people disappeared off the course that like you're like, oh, everything is like icy now and harder, and there's less people. But the few people that were on course, like super, like really pulled together. There was one guy just like standing there in only a wetsuit at Matterhorn helping people over. And I'm like, because he's like, who else is going to help you over? I'm like, and you're going to stand here and freeze in a wetsuit for other people? Like, that is incredible. So, yeah.
The community at World Stavis is really unique. And, like, I don't know of any other race where that happens.
Yeah, or that you would just stand there freezing on the top of a hill just because what you're thinking about in that moment is not your own suffering, but that other people are going to suffer if you don't suffer for them. It's an insane dynamic.
And it's remarkable. Tough Mudder plans obstacles like that where you need help. Just to start the obstacle, you need help to get up there. There were several of them last night. Yeah, there definitely was. There was a lot of teamwork. Even the lumberjacks were one that, oh man. And when they got, I developed a strategy where I just kind of walk up the beam. And like I grabbed the 2 sides and then I'd walk up the beam and then flip over it. And that worked really well until it got icy. And then somebody did the same thing in front of me and like fell off onto his back. And then I was kind of like, ugh. So that was just before they ended up actually closing it down, just because there's those 3 obstacles in a row, the walls and the Berlin wall, or T-boned, I guess they'd call it, and then the slant wall, and then the lumberjack, they just closed down because the ice. That lumberjack was like the worst obstacle on the course, the hardest.
Try being short. I was like, I can walk under these without, because usually they're like, you just jump and throw your chest on them and flip over.
Like 2 feet higher and 3 less of them.
Yeah,
2 feet lower.
Exhausting. As soon as I drove into the venue, I was like, those are going to be the worst at 3 a.m. And they were.
I saw them from my car, and I was like, maybe they're going to put more bark underneath there. Maybe it'll be like not. It looks hard, but maybe it won't be that bad.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
No such luck.
Yeah.
Allison, any big plans for next year? They announced the 12-hour toughest mudders. What do you think of that?
I think that's awesome. I really think the vibe, it's something that they should run with, and I think the vibe is going to be totally different this year at the toughest series, and I really like the 12 hours, because I know it's only 4 hours from 8 to 12, but that's a big jump in terms of how people are going to be pacing themselves, and like the grit required for a race like that. So,
Allison, any last thoughts? World Stavis Mudder?
No. I just, a lot of people didn't finish the course. A lot of people had to pull off, and it's just inspiring that, you see so many people like go out there and grit it out, absolutely, and make it, the whole 24 hours. But even just the people that were out there and even fought through 1, 2, 3, 4, 25 miles, I think those are incredible achievements. And I just hope that people that maybe didn't make it the entire race, that they're still like super proud of themselves, because that was tough.
Allison Tai, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Erin Rost, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Erin, I did not know who you were before this weekend.
It's okay.
But you told me a story that you heard something I said on the podcast before about how we can try and predict the winners, but every year something happens. What's that?
Yeah, one of the podcasts you said sometimes there's someone who's going to surprise you. There's always someone who's going to surprise you. I remember you were talking about if you can guess the top 3 male, top 3 female, then like you win a sticker or something. But you're like, there's always someone who surprises you. And I was like, oh, I wonder who it's going to be. And then I never thought it would be me. But yeah.
So you ran 75 miles.
Yes.
Second place.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Honestly, I didn't even know I was in contention for anything till yesterday morning around like 9:30. My boyfriend and my mom, I came into the pit and they had the leader bib up, and I literally stood there with my jaw open, like frozen. I couldn't believe that. I know what the leader bib means, so I couldn't believe that was for me. And I ran up to them and they said, "You have a chance to get third, but you got to make this pit like this one fast." I thought I'd get 65 and be done, and they're like, and they kind of knew that, so I was like, "You need to go out there and finish this one." So I quick pitted, went into another gear, went to another place, and all of a sudden I was able to run the whole lap.
You had some more in the tank you didn't know you had?
Yeah, a lot more in the tank, surprisingly, because I ended up doing 3 more laps after that. So
that was at your 60-mile mark?
Yeah, after I'd finished 60, they told me that I had a chance.
Now, you said you were shocked. Like in the video, you said your jaw literally dropped.
Like my mom and boyfriend kept laughing about it because they said, I wish we had that on video, because I just stood there, jaw open, frozen. I could not believe that leader bib was for me. So
you'd run 60 miles. You must have known you were doing good.
So I never knew my placing the whole time, and I wasn't really focused on that. I wasn't even paying attention to my mile times as much. I wasn't really pacing my lap times. I was just trying to do my best. I wanted to go the whole time. That was my goal. I wanted to go till 12 o'clock, no matter what that meant. So it just worked out really well this time.
This is your first World's Toughest Mudder?
This is my first World's Toughest Mudder.
What got you why'd you sign up for World's Toughest?
World's Toughest Mudder just seemed like the hardest race you could do. And I was like, if I can do that, I can do anything. So I set my mind on it last year. I watched World's Toughest last year, and I was like, I'm definitely doing this. And I signed up like a couple weeks later, and all my training this year has been geared towards this. So
what's like you're brand new to me. Like
it's okay.
Like you're tell me some of your background. I know you're in the Air Force.
Yes, I'm in the Air Force. I'm stationed at Hanscom Air Force Base in near Boston, Massachusetts. Yeah, and I'm originally from Sacramento, California. What's
your running background or your fitness? Are you more in CrossFit? Are you like I know I saw you did an ultra marathon.
Yes, some kind of like a mix of things. I'm not a big runner. I got into running for this race, but I'm not. I've done a few marathons in the past, but I wouldn't say I'm a big runner. I do a lot of lifting. I box. I got into CrossFit too for this race too. But I come from more of like a lifting background, I'd say. But I've gotten into running for this.
And you told me that you actually listen to our podcast a lot, like while you're running.
Yeah. So before this, I told him how this podcast made me feel really connected to the community. And sometimes when you're training for OCRs, you feel kind of lonely because a lot of people don't understand what it means to train for OCRs. And it gets lonely. And then this podcast, when I found this podcast, I was like, this was amazing. And I would just listen to it over and over again because it's so nice to have like other people who get it and are as into it as I am. And I listened to like the nutrition one and especially the one the nutrition one with
How to Not Die?
How to Not Die at World's Toughest. I listened to that one like 3 or 4 times. So I was really, really focused on my hydration and electrolytes and all that so I wouldn't cramp up and nothing would happen to me after.
And so you've seen Rea and Allison, or heard Rea and Allison on the show multiple times.
Yes, like they're my inspirations for OCR racing. Like I follow them on Instagram. I listen to them religiously on the podcast and stuff because, they kind of paved the way in a lot of ways because OCR is still so new. So being up there with them, and like I sat next to Allison Tai at brunch, and she was so nice, and I was like, I can't believe I'm like in this position. This is such a surreal like moment for me.
It's kind of mind blowing, right? Like,
yeah, it is.
You're a regular person that did something extraordinary this weekend, and you're sitting with and you are among the.
No, I am
you're sitting with them. You are one of them.
Okay, no, it's like. I feel like I'm like kind of not the outcast, but kind of like the redhead stepchild over there because I don't quite fit in. But everyone's been so great. I cannot get over like how nice everybody is.
And people are happy for you.
Yeah, everyone's been so nice. And people seem happy, and it's great.
So second place at World's Toughest, your very first year.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Does it make you think about what's next year?
Yeah, so this year was kind of like my first serious year of like doing races, and I kind of thought this would be like I'd test out things and see which ones I liked. And the next year would be more like my serious year, like getting really into it. And I never thought this would happen, so I guess I have to figure out what my goals are next year. But I just love like training and doing these races. It's not about like winning. That's what's so great about OCRs. It's not about winning. It's about doing your best every time and helping other people do their best. So
you do some other races to prepare coming up?
Yeah. What do you mean?
You did some other races to prepare leading up to World's Toughest?
Yeah, so I did Toughest South in Texas, and then I did a couple Tough Mudders, did a triple lap, did a Tougher Mudder, and then a couple Spartan races, and then a couple like endurance races to get used to that long distance running because it's not something I'm super good at. So yeah.
It sounds like you got a real good balance of endurance stuff, and then you knew the Tough Mudder obstacles, there's new ones obviously, but you knew the Tough Mudder obstacles. It sounds like you were pretty well prepared coming in. Yeah, I do. I naturally have a little, like some upper body strength, so I don't have to work as hard at that, but I still have to focus on it. That's what I love about OCR training, because you have to do everything all the time. Like, there's not one set way, there's not one perfect way. It's like, you just do everything. It's awesome. What percentage of your training time do you spend running versus lifting? I try to run every day, and I try to do some kind of lifting every day. I don't take a lot of days off. I rarely take a day off, so even if I do it like lighter days, but I try to do both of those every day because both are important. So what, again, first year, second place, it's amazing. Yeah. What if someone knows that, hey, I'm a strong athlete. I don't know if I'm that strong, but I'm an athlete. Yeah. I want to do World's Toughest Mudder. What advice would you give them? Go for it, first of all. Come up with like a good plan for you. You're not going to be able to go out right away and be able to do like crazy mileage every week. Like, set goals for yourself. So my goal was, I worked backwards. I was like, where do I want to be at World's Toughest? Like, what kind of shape do I want to be in? And then I worked backwards. So I did like half marathons, and then I did a full marathon, and then I did an ultra, and then I mixed in some like races in between that, and just to kind of see where I was at. And if I was running kind of slow, then I realized I need to start running a lot more. If my grip was a little off, I realized I need to start doing grip strength stuff. And then that's when I realized I needed to get into CrossFit, because I realized I needed a little more upper body strength. I need to learn those movements. So I got into CrossFit. But I would say set the goal, do it, and then just work backwards and kind of figure out where you're at. The last couple hours of the race, it's kind of unconventional. Yeah. Some stuff. I don't know exactly what happened with Allison and Team HQ. Do you know what happened? Honestly, I'm not. I've just recently kind of figured out what happened, but I don't know, so I don't want to say it. I don't know what happened. All I knew is they said Allison's not going to be going out, and I thought she was still going to be in second. I never thought I would be in second place till halfway through, like my last lap. I didn't even know I was going for third. I was going to get 75. That was my real goal. And then someone's like, no, she did 70. She's not going out. If you finish this, you're in second place. And I was like, yeah. So they told you if you do one more lap, you'll be second place at World's Toughest Mudder. They never said that. Oh. Yeah. But you're running your last lap. Yeah, sorry. And you know if I finish this lap, I'll be in second place. I'll win second place. What did that feel like, running that last lap, knowing I've got to finish this lap in time? I just couldn't believe it. Halfway through the lap, I met someone, and he ended up running the whole last part of it with me because, I was all alone doing it. There was really no one else out there. I just couldn't believe I was in this position. It was just surreal. Like, all these cameras started following me. Like, these podcasters started coming up and walking with me and talking to me, and I was and they're asking me what it felt like. I was like, literally 3 hours ago, I didn't even know I was in the top 10. So I'm having trouble processing what's happening. So I just, it was just a really great feeling to even be in that position. And all of this, we're at the post-race brunch. All of this happened literally 24 hours ago. 24 hours, yeah. But in the race, they were interviewing me. I was literally 4 hours ago, I didn't even know I was in the top 10. So, it's been a huge honor. It's been humbling, and everyone's been so great, and I'm very honored. So. Tell me about crossing the finish line. That was the best feeling. Coming down the hill. Well, first of all, at the Mutterhorn, there was 4 people who waited there, and then were able to boost me up because no one else was really on the course. So it was really nice that they were waiting there. So I was like, I love Tough Mudder. And then I did that and came down the hill, and I heard them saying my name and what I was doing, and I just took off. I don't know where I got the energy, but I was sprinting down the hill after mile 75. Just coming in and seeing my boyfriend, my mom, who were the best pit crew I could have ever asked for, waiting there, cheering me on, and seeing everybody. It was so great. Yeah. It's kind of amazing. You're going to be on TV, I'm sure.
Yeah.
A little,
It's crazy.
It's not celebrity, but you'll be known.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I hope I inspire someone else because anybody can do this. You set a plan, you set a goal, and you work towards it. Like anything's possible. So,
Erin, any last thoughts on World's Toughest Mudder?
No, I do want to just thank, I had a really great pit crew. My mom and my boyfriend were, amazing. They stayed up all night. None of them, they didn't take a nap once, and we're always right there helping with everything I need. So I give them a lot of credit. So
Erin Rost, thanks much.
Yeah, thank you.
Erin's so good.
Yeah, thank you.
That was actually fun.
Yeah.
Then I started running then. I played volleyball
so you
before then.
understand, yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't like
I played soccer.
Nice,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like I ran in
Yeah.
high school or in college or anything. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of weird. You just get sucked in.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
The competitiveness, too.
Yeah.
I like the competitive spirit, but also there's a lot of teamwork involved. It's like a mix of everything. It's awesome.
Dude, have you ran a lot of other OCR races?
This year I ran several. I did
Okay.
Toughest South and then a couple Tough Mudders, and I got into
Okay, so
Spartan
you
racing
have
this year.
done like some
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not super new.
But I mean pretty new.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you think the Toughest South versus this? Wait, you were at Toughest South?
Yeah.
Wasn't I there?
I barely got 25. I was
I think I was there.
Yeah.
That was Texas, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really after that I was I need to get really serious about this. So I was I barely got 25 and I was
Yeah.
I want to do well at World's Toughest. I need to work on this.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, you tripled it.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah.
That's impossible, but you ramped your training up. That's awesome.
You got 100 miles, so just stop talking to me.
Okay. Yeah.
That was your first 100 too, right?
Second.
It's okay, you got Lash. Okay.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Do you get 2 orange jackets?
No.
too?
I'm actually.
You only get 1?
I don't know. We're talking about Davis. We should either get the years on
Yeah.
it or multiple patches on it. I was like, that's a good idea because I don't want 2 of these. This is ugly enough. This is an ugly enough jacket. It's the ugly jacket.
You wear it here, it's cool, but anywhere else,
exactly. So people are like, do you wear this all year long? I'm like, no.
it doesn't match
Never.
anything. I'm sure. Either.
Unless I'm doing something stupid put online. No, never wear this out. I'll wear it tonight at the bar crawl.
Of course. Yeah.
That's it. This is the only place where it's cool. And people know what it is.
But it's very cool here.
It is really
It's very cool here. It's kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah.
Cool.
So are you going to be back next year?
Yes.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
She's more
for sure.
confident than I am that I'm going to
Yeah,
be back.
I really, really love this whole experience.
Good Lord. That was the
Yeah.
hardest course of my life. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Not the course, the weather included, just the hardest 24-hour race.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, good
This
for
is
you.
my hardest and easiest because it's my first.
It's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Better watch out, Rea.
No.
You better watch out. She's coming to get you.
No.
Oh, I know. Seriously. Whoa, she got a sticker?
I got 3.
What?
stickers.
Will. So
No,
Tyler
no.
Nash gets a sticker. Aaron gets what is this? Oh, and then Will is handing 2 stickers to Rea.
Big deal.
I'm not a sponsored World's Toughest podcast athlete. That's unfortunate. It's very sad. Everyone's getting stickers but me. This is very rude of him. It's okay. I'll get back to him. Woo! Oh.
3 stickers.
3 stickers. Take that, Tyler Nash. Take that. Then I should get 4. Boom.
3.
Perfect. Aaron and Ray have 3 up, and I have 4. So you get a sticker for every 25 miles. We're good. We're good. Everyone's square.
If you're on the podium also. I can't give it every single 25-mile finisher a sticker.
They can pay for it. Oh, okay. You could. Okay. I'll give you some of these back later. So, Will, what do you think of the race?
I loved it. I was. For me, it's just an honor to share the course with guys like you and Aaron. Are you interviewing me?
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
Aaron
It was
and I
very
are
cold.
interviewing you.
It's the coldest I've ever been on a race course. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Everything was freezing. Anything metal, your gloves, if you touched it for more than a half a second, it would freeze to it. We made it all night. So I was on a relay team. Did I tell you this?
5th place.
Wrong.
4th place. I know.
That's $1,000, baby.
$1,000.
That'll buy a lot of stickers.
Dang, the world's toughest community is getting tons of stickers.
What was the toughest obstacle?
Oh, without a doubt, it was lumberjacked.
Oh, yeah. That's what I
What
said,
was the worst obstacle?
That was the worst obstacle.
It was.
It was about a foot too high, and there were about 3 too many of them.
You're a tall
Yeah.
guy.
The last 3.
Right?
The
Like
last
one, you were doing it like
so
when you,
unnecessary.
when I was driving in my car. I think I told Allison this. I was driving in and I saw that
Sorry, who?
obstacle. The third place woman finisher.
I don't know who she is. Okay. Anyways, keep going.
As I was driving in, I saw that obstacle, and I said, maybe they're going to put some more bark down, like so it won't be that tall, because it looks tall, but they just don't have all the bark down there yet.
Right.
They did not add any bark, and in fact, the bark got like more sparse as the night went on. So we started like kind of climbing up the sides and kind of throwing your body over.
Yeah.
But every time you went over, it was kind of like, don't break your leg, don't break your leg.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there were some injuries there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
Did you get hurt at all?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't get any. I have a lot of bruises, though. I have bruises everywhere. Did you get hurt?
No, just like bruises and can barely walk today, but it's okay.
My hips, my knees. Are like...
My feet are swollen. Yeah. Stop
You're-
looking at my feet.
I've never seen.
I couldn't put them in shoes.
Aaron,
I tried.
I feel all of a sudden my shoes were like really tight. I was like, that's so weird.
I
Aaron,
tried.
can you describe Chris's large toes?
Oh, they're like hobbit feet.
They're really big and swollen, and red and poofy.
That was a pretty nice description. Not too gross at all.
I'm gonna embarrass you.
Oh, I don't care.
Do you think you're going to lose some of those toenails?
I hope so, because toenails are worthless.
They're like the flossing of feet.
This interview's over. I hate you.
You brought me a present before the race.
I did.
That was very kind.
I wanted to make sure that you were taking care, you and your team, taking care of your oral hygiene throughout the whole race.
You and your fellow dental professional,
Yeah,
Alex
Walker. Yep. We had a little present for you. So what we did is we got about 25 of those travel like Crest Oral-B packs with like floss, toothpaste, and toothbrush in it, and we just scattered them all over his pit area.
You know what I should have done? I should have asked you to sign them, to autograph them, and I could give them away as prizes.
Well, what I actually wanted to do, but I didn't think about it in time, is put a picture of you, your 4-star or 5-star Will picture that I put on Instagram. I wanted to put that in each one so that when you handed it out, they would have your picture in it. But I didn't think about it in time.
You couldn't get the pictures made up.
No.
That's a real shame.
I know. I was really disappointed about that. Maybe
You're a champion, man. How do you feel?
incredible. Very tired and sore. It really hasn't settled in, but like it's just an amazing feeling. Like I'm like just thinking about it. I couldn't have written it any better than how it finished. Yeah, I mean, I just especially battling with Trevor is like, who's also a good friend. It's like, you know, it sucks to see him hurting so bad at the end, especially. But like, we were all hurting, and we really both just like pushed each other all night. So, yeah.
You guys are kind of trading first and second throughout the night, right?
So pretty much after like a certain point at like 8 or 9 p.m., he was in the lead, and he just kept gaining. Like it kept growing. So honestly, in the middle of the night, I was just thinking like, yeah, I'm fighting for second, or just, you know, stay strong, stay in second, and Trevor's got this in the bag type thing. But I just kept going because I still wanted the 100 miles. We both talked about it before. We both wanted to come in. We both wanted to go 1-2. We thought that'd be a fun way to run this race, and just we both wanted 100 miles. So that was our goal at the beginning, and it's kind of crazy because in the middle of the night, one of the things that kept me going was just like, you can't, like I considered dropping, seriously. Like I know people don't think that happens, but like I was for like 12 to 14 hours in the middle of the night, like I didn't want to do it anymore. I was miserable, it was cold, like it wasn't going great. But like I told myself, like I can't just drop and, you know, kind of let Trevor down in a way because we wanted to go 1-2 type thing. And I couldn't just be like the second place loser, like who just dropped. So I was like, no, just keep going. And, you know, it ended up paying off. So, yeah.
So you ended up winning the race, but during the race, you thought about quitting.
Oh, yeah. Many times. Many times. Like, it was so cold. I was so miserable. Like, Trevor's lead was growing. I was like, there's no point. Like, he's got this in the bag. And if you've seen Trevor race, he is a closer. And I knew that about him. But I guess it kind of, the roles reversed this time, whereas I just stayed steady, and he must have just gone a little too hard.
It's difficult to communicate to people who weren't there how miserable it was in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
It was so cold.
Yep.
We're getting in and out of the water. If you fail an obstacle, you're in the water. It was so miserable.
Yeah, I could barely feel my hands. Like, the only way I was able to like do some of the obstacles, the grip strength obstacles at the beginning of the lap, was I had my crew pour warm water on my hands so I can get feeling in them just long enough to get to those obstacles, do them, and then keep going, because there wasn't as much grip at the end of the lap. So by then, like by the time the end of the lap came, they were so cold I couldn't even squeeze them. So it was crazy, yeah.
So you passed Trevor about a half a mile from the finish line, right before Mutterhorn?
Yeah, so there's a point. Mutterhorn's the last obstacle, but in the last like 3/4 of a mile or half mile or so, I actually just finished Happy Ending, which kind of is high up. And I look down and I just see Trevor finishing the barbed wire crawl, which is like 200, 300 meters ahead. And so I just like, okay, let's go. Because I had made up 20 minutes in that lap. So I knew that I had a shot. You know, we had like a half mile left, maybe a little longer, but I just started running as hard as I could. And there's a gradual ascent, and then you kind of go through this forested area, and I passed him on that first gradual ascent. And I pretty much just like, you know, came up behind him and was like, dude, like, what's going on? Are you okay? Because he was moving so slow that I was like, something's wrong. Like, he's actually like medically, something could be wrong. And so I was like, dude, are you okay? And at first he's like, yeah. But then he looked at me, he's like, he just shook his head. He's like, no, dude, I'm not. He's like, but I'm proud of you, dude. Go take it. And just like, it was like a really crazy moment. And I was like, you're the man, dude. And I just like took off. Kept running. He was running with Deanna Braz, so I knew that, you know, he wasn't going to get left and like die out there. You know, there's camera people there too, so I just kept running and just gave it everything I had at the end of the race because, you know, I didn't want to lose it. I didn't even think that 2 miles left in the race. I did not think it was even possible. And like for it to happen, it's like still like I can't believe this happened. Like 100 miles. We ran for 25 hours. And in the last mile is when I like took the lead.
And you didn't even know it was possible until you saw him looking down.
Yeah, I did not think. Like my crew was telling me like he's slowing down, but like 20 minutes in one lap, that's a lot to make up. So I didn't think so. I was just moving because I want to get done with the race. Actually, by the time I got to Operation, which was about 3 miles in, I found out that I'd cut the lead or his lead to 5 minutes and 20 seconds. My crew, he was out there timing. He's like, Kris, 5 minutes, 20 seconds ago, he left here. I was like, let's go. You know, let's push. And so I just gave it everything I had.
So you're in first place. You just finished the last obstacle, the Mutterhorn.
Yes.
You're running down the hill toward the finish line.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I mean, it was like, I was trying to, like, part of me was like super excited. Part of me was also like, okay, don't like pass out or anything for any reason because I was so tired. Like, don't pull an Azar, don't just like go die. So I was just like, but I was so pumped. I honestly didn't even like think about the finish shoot until like I was there because like I was just running. I was like focused. Like I heard them saying stuff, I heard stuff happening, but I was still like, my buddy just said, put your head down and run, put your head down and run. So I was just running, still giving it everything I had. And then once I got to like the final shoot and I like looked back and saw that Trevor wasn't even on Mutterhorn yet. I was just like, this is it. I'm going to enjoy this. And so I did.
So instead of running across the finish line, breaking the tape.
Yeah, we don't do that here.
What'd you do?
The limbo, baby. We got to make it exciting.
After you limboed under the finish line, your mom and dad ran up to you.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, I pretty much just like collapsed on the ground. I was just like so excited. And my mom, dad, my cousin Ashley, and then my best friend Rob came, just like surrounded me and huddled around me and just like, you did it. Like, and I still like can't believe it, you know? It was just like a really special moment because like this year, my cousin and my best friend, like I said, got to come out also. My parents have seen this race before, but, it was like a really special time to have everyone there, you know? I told them never to come back also because this is as good as it's getting. Like, it's not getting any better than this, so they should never come to another event. Yeah.
You know, Rea Kolbl just repeated as women's champion.
Yep.
Now, what's your plan for next year?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, like, give me a couple days. Like, honestly, during the middle of the night, I told myself I'm not coming back to... If they have it in Georgia again, like, with these conditions, I don't want to do this again. But... now that I know the finish, it kind of changes things. But I would say give it a couple days to set in. This has always been my race. I will be here regardless, whether I decide to run or crew. But, you know, I'll probably end up running, but I'm too sore and still remember how cold it was. So,
Kris, do you have any sponsors? Anything you want to plug?
I mean, the big one is just Merrell. They've been a huge supporter. It's kind of sad that they're not with Tough Mudder anymore. But for me, it's great because I still have their support, you know.
You're going to keep working with them in the future?
Yeah, for sure. Like, they've been awesome. I love their shoes, love their gear. So, I mean, there's no one else I'd rather be working with. They've been really supportive, and I think the best thing is, like, they never put pressure on anyone they work with to, like, do well. They're just like, support our brand and kind of be you. And so for me, like, that's really important because this isn't my full-time job. You know, I do this for fun, and so I want a good group of people around me, and they've been great. So,
what did you run in for your win?
I ran the whole race in the all-out crush 2s with the laced. Yeah.
The boa lace?
Nope, just the normal
regular
laces. Regular lace, yeah. I just ran the whole thing in those. Never had to change. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a pretty minimal shoe for 100 miles, but they were working, and my feet weren't hurting too bad. So they are swollen today, but, yeah.
I think you run 100 miles in anything, you're going to have swollen feet.
That's true, yeah. Good point. So.
Any last thoughts? World's Toughest Mudder 2018?
Man, this is incredible. Like, I still, like, you should probably talk to me later when I have a second to, like, digest all this stuff. Just, like, looking around the room, just seeing all the people here. It's just been incredible. And, like, just sharing the podium again with Rea again, like, one of my super good friends is awesome. So.
Second race in a row, you guys have both been on top.
I know. It's insane. So, hopefully we keep this going. I don't know.
Kristopher Mendoza, thanks much.
Thank you, Will. 5 stars.
5 stars.
Nice. You got it. You nailed your own impression. Good job.
Daniel and Katie Mendoza, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I know you don't like it when I call you Mrs. Mendoza.
Yeah, my name's Katie. That's Danny, or Mama and Papa Doza.
I know you have to run to the airport, but I saw the pictures and the video of Kris crossing the finish line. What were your emotions? What did you feel when you saw Kris winning the race?
Just watching what he's done over the last 4 years and knowing the commitment that kid has, having a full-time job, finishing residency, moving to Colorado last, July, and watching him just go through that. As a parent, watching him go through the pain he did that night, and all of a sudden noticing that he was realizing a dream. He said years ago that I got to win this, and to hear whoever was broadcasting saying he's only 100 feet or 100 yards away from Trevor, and they're good friends, and we were rooting for both of them, and then to hear it that he passed Trevor, I was in tears, and I was going to give him a flag at the very beginning to walk up second place, Kristopher Mendoza. And when he passed him, I said, I don't know how close Trevor is, so I'm not going to even interrupt him. I want to watch this. And the 4 of us got to stay at the finish line. Tough Mudder guys just said, come out and celebrate with him. And when they said go, we took off. So what a great day for us.
Yeah, it was, for me, I thought that Tough Mudder was kind of messing with us, and I really thought that maybe, Kristopher didn't pass Trevor. I thought this was like a CBS thing or something to make it this dramatic ending. Exactly, and I really thought that it was going to be that. And when he went around that corner and we saw him, I mean, I started bawling. I'd been kind of crying. As you can tell, my voice is a little hoarse. It was just such huge emotions. I was just so proud, and it was the best feeling. I marked this up one of those days, the birth of my children, my daughter's wedding, our wedding. This is like one of those days, those emotions that you can kind of pack deep inside, and then, when you're having a bad day, you think about that day. Yesterday, that was that day.
I know you guys have to go to the airport. Thanks for taking a couple minutes. Any last thoughts before you go?
Thank you for everything you've done for Kris. Talking to him, putting him on podcasts. Just thank you. And yeah.
Well, we love you. You're amazing. I absolutely love the way you do your podcast. And you always have 5 stars for me. Always.
Daniel and Katie Mendoza, thanks much.
Thank you.
You guys are literally the best.
I love you.
Rea Kolbl.
Will Hicks.
How was your race?
It was really good.
I'm sorry, did you introduce yourself? I don't think people know who you are.
Who are you?
Well, I'm a nice guy.
Kristopher Mendoza.
I'm out. I'm out now.
Bye.
Bye.
Kristopher Mendoza making his exit. Rea, you won the race again.
I did.
That's amazing.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was. Ali and I were really close at the beginning, so for a moment there I was like, oh, it's Ali's year. But then, the night and the race is long, so yeah.
Allison mentioned something I've said on the podcast. You've never lost a race 8 hours or longer.
I guess that's true.
Also, again this year, you won it wire to wire, sprint lap, and the whole time.
I kind of went for that sprint lap. I was gauging. I wasn't going to go sprint it, but the pace that we went wasn't too bad, so I figured I'd push a little bit and see if I could repeat it. But Ali and I did leapfrog for a while, so I couldn't decide what I wanted to wear for a few laps, so spent a lot of the time in the pit changing out in different things. So she kind of passed me, and then I passed her again, and it was interesting. It definitely kept it more intense than last year.
You told me that's one of the things last year that you could save time on is the wetsuit change and the pit time. Is that still something you're trying to work out the kinks in?
It went a lot better this year. It was just at the beginning, the temperature was changing pretty rapidly, and the wind was coming in and out, and then the water obstacles were opening, so it was hard to get the right thing for the right moment. I think that's why almost the nighttime running was a bit easier this time, because it was cold, but it was consistently cold. So you just put your warmest things on, and then you didn't have to change.
That's a real interesting point. Like, you didn't have to worry about it getting colder. You already had all your cold stuff on, so just... what you've got is what you've got, and you got to go.
Yeah, at that point, you just have to keep moving to generate the heat. And I did notice I was the coldest coming out of the pit, because that's when you stop and you eat and you stop moving, and it took a while to warm back up. But on the course, I was actually surprisingly comfortable, which was really interesting, because you'd see ice everywhere, and it was amazing how this a neoprene thing can keep you warm in that kind of weather.
What did you think of the weather? It was pretty generally considered miserable conditions.
I felt my hypothermia thing 2 weeks ago, I think that kind of saved me, because I ordered a thicker wetsuit that afternoon, and it was the wetsuit that I needed this time with another vest over that. So I personally actually wasn't too cold at any point, which was, I felt like, success.
So you're wearing two wetsuits and a vest?
No, I was wearing a wetsuit that was thermally insulated on the inside with a fleece jacket built into it, and then I was wearing a sleeveless vest over that.
Tell me about the race. What was the best part of the race for you?
There were a lot of really great moments. The best part was when I realized that I could be done at 9 a.m. because it was hurting quite a lot. And when John Tai told me what Allison's standing was and everything, and I realized I didn't have to go out for another lap, it was just so much relief, and just realizing that I've done it for the second year. That was pretty epic. But another thing that was really awesome was when the sun rose and you would see all the frost. And it was so amazing, because at night you kind of keep on going and you just see whatever your headlight illuminates. And then once the sun rises, you kind of see the bigger picture, and you kind of realize just how bad the conditions were, and you realize that you've made it. And I feel like that was pretty awesome.
That frost was everywhere, and it did not melt with the sunrise.
No, I thought it was funny how they said the obstacles are closed until 7 a.m. because of frost. And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure frost is not going to go away as soon as the sun crests the hill. But you could actually see it then. So, and I don't know if that happened to you too, but my hands were actually sticking on stuff because it was so cold.
You would go up or climb up a ledge to get on an obstacle, and you'd have your gloves on the ledge to push yourself up, and they would freeze to the metal platform.
Yeah, I think because they were wet, so the ice just kind of instantly formed when you touched stuff.
You're the first woman to ever repeat as champion since Amelia Boone in 2014, 2015. Did you feel any pressure coming in?
I didn't really feel pressure, and I think it's because the race is so long that I didn't really expect anything from myself other than try really hard, and that's a lot easier than having a mileage goal or having of course you have you hope for 100, but I knew that was out of the window pretty quickly. And you just that at the end of it, you're going to be proud of yourself for trying, and it's a lot easier to do that kind of race than when you have actual result in mind.
So that 100 miles for a woman, we've talked about it before. It's going to go down. It's going to happen someday.
Not next year, I think.
Not next year?
Well, if we're at the same venue and a week later.
They announced today at brunch that It's going to be back in Atlanta, probably the same venue. And yeah, a week later in the year, which is not going to be warmer.
I think the hard thing is you have to be in your wetsuit for longer. So in Vegas, I put it on maybe at like 6 p.m. Here, I put it on like 2 or 3 p.m. And so it's just a lot more strain on your body. And also, like, there's just the mud slows you down, and the single track in the woods slows you down, and all of that just makes it. It's not the same. Like, mileage is really hard to compare when the venues change.
What did you think of the venue?
I loved it. It was so beautiful. Especially the start with the golden carabiner rod that we took on the first lap. It was actually golden. Like, there was just foliage everywhere, and it was gorgeous with the lakes. And at night, I don't know if you saw that, but it was so beautiful. We were running by the lake, and there were trees on the other side, and the Mother Village was behind those trees, but there were reflectors coming through the trees, and they were making these beautiful shadows on the lake. It was just breathtaking. And there were a lot of things like that because it was more closed venue, I guess, and that allowed for more variations in what you saw, and it just kept it very interesting.
What did you think of the obstacles this year?
I loved a lot of them. I think my favorite one is the, what is it called again? The Black Widow. It's like slacklining, but you have other slacklines to hold on to, and they kind of make a maze that you have to go through. So that was really fun. I'm so glad they brought the cliff back. I was very excited for those stacks. And the gauntlet was actually really fun. And I was pretty proud of myself for getting that because the grip strength is something that I struggled last year, and I worked really hard on that this whole year. And it's kind of like gratifying to be able to use it in a race on an obstacle like that, and it got it 3 out of 3 times.
So you did the stacks, the cliff replacement. What did you think of the stacks?
They hurt, actually. I think it was combined with the fact that I was more tired this year than last year, because last year I could do cliff jump for the entire time when it was open and it was fine, and this year I actually chose to take a penalty on the last lap because I felt like I didn't have enough body control to plop down from that thing safely. And I think also one really hard part was that you had to climb up to the top, and those shipping containers were pretty hard and pretty high. So already getting to the top of it was kind of one part of the obstacle, whereas for the cliff, you just kind of walked to the edge and jumped off. So I think it was an hard difficulty upgrade from the Vegas one.
Did you go down Electric Avenue?
Oh, yes. I love the Electric Avenue. I got shocked by operation a few times, and it's such a weird feeling. It's like somebody punches you everywhere in your body. But I think the other two weren't as bad as I thought they would be, and I felt like that made... As much as the course was harder, that option made it a little bit easier.
I think they did a really good job with the course this year. There were fun options like the Golden Carabiner. There was kind of especially before the race, we were like, wow, 3 electrical, that's a lot of electricity. But once we got there were ways you could avoid almost all the electricity if you were
slow.
careful and slow. I think they did a really good job with the course design this year.
I agree. I loved it.
They can't control the weather, obviously.
But I feel like if it was a weekend of sunshine among the rain. So I felt like I would take that over what's today or what it was on Friday.
That's a really good point. It rained, it poured the day before World's Toughest. It did not rain at all during World's Toughest, and it's pouring today. It's raining outside today.
Yeah. If I could pick which one of the two I want, I'd take the frost over the rain.
So what about next year? Are you going to run some 12-hour toughest mutters?
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
I think it's going to be interesting. I think 8-hour mark, it's like at the race this time it was still okay. 12-hour mark was like, ooh, the struggle bus is kind of departing the station. So we'll see. And like the 8-hour ones, you don't really have to go 8 hours. I was usually done like 7.5, 7:15. Now it's going to have to be, 11.5, 11:45. So it's going to be different, but I think different is what keeps it interesting. So I'm excited.
It'll affect the recovery after the race too. You can recover. Lindsay told me that was her biggest concern was 8 hours you can recover in a week or so. 12 hours might push it out.
Yeah, I feel like that's just going to be a new thing we'll have to figure out. We'll see how long it takes me for this race, and we'll know that the 12 hours is somewhere between that and the previous toughest mother.
So 2-time champion. What did it feel like crossing the finish line? You've already done it. You've done it once before, just a year ago today. What did it feel like crossing it the second time?
Just as amazing. I feel like these things are so hard to put in words because it's not just crossing the finish line. It's everything you had to do to cross that finish line. And it's an incredible experience. I think that's why, we keep coming back because it's hard to replicate it in any other situation.
being in pain is not fun, but the feeling at the end of World's Toughest Mudder is unlike anything else in the world that I know of.
I agree. Yeah.
So you are a 2-time champion. The only 3-time back-to-back-to-back champion is Ryan Atkins, 1 time. What are your thoughts on 2019?
Well, I'm coming back and trying again, and we'll see.
Ray, do you have any sponsors? Anything you want to plug?
I do. I have a scent. They're really good to me. They make recovery protein, which I had a few servings yesterday. And then I have Endurelite, Mud Gear, and then I'm a brand ambassador for Ultimate Direction and for Spring Energy, which is really delicious. And I ate a lot.
Spring Energy, that's your natural kind of real food
It's
supplement?
a real food-based energy gel. So it's like rice and honey and fruits. And it's a lot easier to eat that for 24 hours than for any other energy gel.
I got turned on to Ascent Protein because of you. And the only protein I'd ever had up to that point was, various flavors of vanilla. And they have a lemon sorbet that I find delicious. And I don't dread drinking it like vanilla.
And they have cappuccino, which I find delicious.
You love the cappuccino. I'm not a big coffee guy, but cappuccino, between cappuccino and lemon sorbet, most people can be happy.
I think so.
I'm sure there's more flavors. This is not a commercial. I just like lemon sorbet.
We're just really hungry right now.
We just had brunch.
Yeah, but we just ran for a long time.
Ray, any last thoughts? World's Toughest Mudder?
It was amazing. I didn't think it could exceed my expectations, and it did, and I'm happy I was here.
Rea Kolbl, thanks much.
Thank you.
Special thanks to Allison Tai, Erin Rost, Kris Mendoza, Rea Kolbl, and Danny and Katie Mendoza for appearing in this episode. Well done, everyone. All of you are welcome to come back anytime you want. Such a great race, such a great weekend. I will get more into my personal experiences next week or the week after. If we met, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and remind me about it. Tell me about it. Did we get a picture together? Shoot me that picture. willhicks@gmail.com. Did we do an obstacle together? Did I help you? Did you help me? Let me know in the review. I will talk with you soon. Go spend time with someone you love.